So the first thing you need to do is plug in your flip cam to your computer. So to do this, you need to release the USB arm by pulling down this latch right here. And then this arm will be released, and then you can just plug this arm right into your USB port on your computer. However, depending on what kind of setup you have, this might not fit just like this because it is really short and it's kind of picky about which way it goes in. So you might have to add this yellow extension cord that the library supplies when they give the cam to you. So once it's plugged in, the camera will actually read connected. So the next thing you need to do is then find it on your computer. So to do this, go to the Start menu, and then Computer, and as you can see, the flip video should be displayed here as a drive. You can double click that, and then you'll see this DCIM folder, which you'll double click, and then the 100 video folder, which you'll also double click, and then you'll see your video file. Now we're going to copy this off of the camera and put it on our computer. So to do that, I'm just going to right click the thumbnail, and you'll see copy about halfway down. Now you need to determine where you're going to save this on your computer, and you're going to want to remember that so you can use it later. But I like to save my videos in the videos folder on my computer, so I'm going to go there. And then I'm actually going to create a new folder because this helps organization, especially if you have multiple clips. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm just going to name it Videos from FlipCam. And as you can see, a new folder is created, and then I can double click. And then once I'm here, I can just do the same thing by right clicking and pasting. And then depending on how big your video file is, this might take a while to paste into here. But eventually you'll see that it's in there, and then you can close out of that. So the next step is to open Windows Movie Maker so we can import these videos so you can begin editing them. So the first thing you need to do is open up Windows Movie Maker, which can be accessed through the Start menu, and then All Programs, and it should be right here. So you open that up, and then you'll see off to the right here there's this white space that says click here to browse for videos and photos. So click there, and this window will pop up. And as you can see, here's my folder that I saved my video in. Double click on that, and then I'm going to bring in my video and click open. And then as you can see, it's then brought into Windows Movie Maker, and then I can start editing it. If you have multiple videos, you can bring them in at the same time by holding down Control when you're selecting them. So after this is imported, you are ready to start editing your video. So after you've imported your video into Movie Maker, the next step is going to be to start splitting it into segments that you want to use in your final submission. So in order to split it, you need to first decide what part of the video you want to use. The best way to do this is by just watching your video all the way through from beginning to end, and then deciding what parts you want to use. You might also already know what parts you want to use of that video, and you can actually just jump to those spots. But let's say I've decided, I can drag this black bar right here to the point in my video, and as you can see, when I drag this bar, it plays through my video off here to the left, so I can see exactly where I am in my video. So let's say I want this point right here. Now the next thing I want to do is right click, and as you can see, split is an option right here. Click that, and as you can see, my video is then split into two different segments. I have a segment here and a segment here, and you can tell because on either side of the black bar here that I was dragging, there's movie tabs on each side to let me know that this is an independent segment. So let's say I want to split my video again at a further point in the video. I can drag the black bar to that point and then right click again and split, and as you can see, my video is now in three different segments. But let's say I just want this segment and this segment. I can just highlight this segment in between and then hit delete on my keyboard, and that middle segment then disappeared and is no longer a part of my video. But let's say I didn't want to delete that segment. I can go up here in the left hand corner and hit undo, and the segment comes right back. You can also undo any of the splits. So as you can see, that second split I did is now gone, and that's now one whole video, and my video is back in two segments. And you can also redo that if you decide you actually did want that. And let's say you mess up your video completely and undo or redo isn't helping the problem, you can actually just re-import your video and start over. But if you have made progress that you like, I do recommend that you save often, because if Windows Movie Maker were to crash for any reason, you would lose your work, so just be conscious of that. Now this is going to be one of the last things you'll probably worry about in this process, but when it comes time to do so, you're going to want to be conscious of a few things. You're going to want to be conscious of the resolution of your video, which has to be 640 by 480, bit rates, which are going to ultimately affect the file size of your video, which needs to be between 2 and 500 megabytes. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is create custom settings to produce this video with. To do that, we need to come over here, and in the upper left hand corner of the Movie Maker screen, you're going to see this little blue tab here, and if you click it, it's going to drop down a menu, and you're going to have some options. About halfway down, you'll see this Save Movie, and if you hover over it, it'll pop out a menu to the right. Now if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of this menu, you're going to see Create a Custom Setting. If you click on that, it'll open up this Create Custom Settings window, and you're going to be given a few options here. The first thing you're going to want to do is name this set of settings. So I'm going to name it Custom Setting, because then if I want to come back and reproduce a video with these same settings, it'll be here and I won't have to go through this again. Alright, so the next thing you want to do after you've named your settings is you're going to want to adjust the resolution. Now like I said, you need to have a resolution of 640 by 480. So we can change that simply by coming in here, the width, if I highlight this, and then replace it with 640, and then do the same in the height box, so I'm going to replace that with 480. As you can see, changing these doesn't affect the estimated file size. What's going to do that is going to be bit rates. Now bit rates can be a little confusing, but they're going to be ultimately what affects this file size here. So let's say I kept the default bitrate of 8000. If I come down here, it's telling me that the estimated file size with an 8000 bitrate is going to be about 58 megabytes per minute. So what does this mean? Well, my video is about 1 minute and 53 seconds long, so just under 2 minutes. So I can easily figure out about how big my video is going to be. So if I come down here and I multiply the 58 megabytes per minute times my 2 minutes of video, I'm going to have a video of about 116 megabytes. Now that's just under the 200 mark that we are aiming for, so this bitrate would work for me. However, you're going to be working with way bigger video clips, so you're going to have to obviously pick a bitrate that's smaller. Alright, so how do you find a bitrate that works for you? Now, there's going to be a couple ways that you can do this, but one way is just going to be to play around with the bitrate. So, as you can see, if I type in a lesser value, the estimated file size goes down, and if I type in a bigger one, it's going to go up. Now, this method can be frustrating if you aren't coming to a number that works for you. So, if you have this compressing videos document, on the second page you'll notice this little table here. And this table just gives some common bit rates for these video lengths here. So, this could be a resource for the guess and test method. So if you had a 6-minute video, you know that your bitrate has to be between 2000 and 5000. So let's say you tried out a couple bit rates and this table still isn't getting you close enough, or you're not getting the bitrate that you want. You can also come here, and we have created this bitrate calculator. To get to the bitrate calculator, you just need to come over here and you'll see this Excel spreadsheet icon. If you double click on it, it'll open up this Excel spreadsheet. Alright, so the only thing I need to know to use this calculator is the length of my video in seconds. So the video I'm using is 1 minute and 53 seconds. So in strictly seconds, that's 113. So I need to take that number and just type it in this B column under length of video in seconds. And then I hit enter. And as you can see, it'll calculate my bitrate for me. And I can just copy this number and then put it in the bitrate box in Windows Movie Maker. Now as you can see, my estimated file size has gone up substantially, but let's say I don't believe this bitrate calculator works and I want to make sure. As you can see, if I have an estimated file size of 104 megabytes per minute and I have 2 minutes of video, I'd have a file of about 208 megabytes, so it worked out pretty good. So once you found a bitrate that works for you, you can go ahead and click save, and then it'll prompt you to name these settings. And like I said before, if you save these settings, you can then use them to later render files down the road. And then go ahead and click save again. And then you can close out of the custom settings box. Now the next thing you need to do is produce your video. Now to produce the video with the settings we just created, you're going to want to come back to the menu bar and click it, and then save menu. And as you can see, the settings we just created will be kind of towards the top. So if you click on those, it'll ask you to name your movie, and I'm just going to name mine My Movie. and then click save, and it'll take a moment to render, and as soon as that's done, you're ready to submit your video. The first thing we need to do is go to the UWM homepage, and then off to the right here you're going to see this More Plus tab, and if you drop that down it's going to give you a menu, and then about halfway through you'll see the Pantherfile link, so click on that and it'll bring you to the Pantherfile login page, so I'm going to log in, and then it'll bring you to this page. The first thing we need to do, and a lot of you might have already done this, but we need to create a folder. So to do that we're going to come over here and you'll see this new folder button. I'm going to click on that. It'll ask me to name my folder. I'm going to name it. Now if you click next it's going to give you a bunch of other options for your folder, but we don't really need to do that, so we can just click finish. And it'll bring you back here and you'll see that your folder has been created. Now we actually need to upload files to this folder, so to do that I'm going to double click on the folder and it's going to open up the folder, and then I'm going to come over here back to the right and I'm going to click this upload button, and it's going to ask me to choose the file that I want to upload, so I'm going to click choose file, and then I'm going to select my file. Now let's say I want to upload more than one file. I can come up here and click add file and then just repeat that process. So choose file and then select the file. Now you can repeat that as many times as you need to, but once you've selected all of the files that you'd like to upload, you can come down here and click start upload, and that's going to take a second, and then it'll bring you back to the folder page. The next step is going to be to share this folder. So to do that, I'm going to back out of the folder by clicking this blue up arrow to the left of the folder icon here. And then I need to select a folder here to share, and so I need to put a check mark in the box to the left of the folder. And as you can see, it then gives me a bunch of the options to do with it, and I'm going to click share. Now there's a few ways you can share your folder. One way is by searching for the user if you know a specific user or group. Or you can come up here and type a specific email, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to type an email, and you can add as many as you need to, but once you've selected the people you'd like to share this with, come over and click next, and it's going to bring you this verify permissions page, and we don't really need to do anything here, so we can click next. And then it's going to give you a preview of the email that it's going to send, and you can also have a copy of it sent to yourself if you want, but I'm not going to. And you can also edit this email if you'd like just by clicking in here and then typing your message. Once you're satisfied with your email, you can come over here and click finish. It'll then send your email and then bring you back to this page where you're pretty much done, and you can log out and then X out.